So let's start the course content of the training. So this is basically a PAPM training course where I will be showing you all the concepts about PAPM from functional standpoint of view. So this is not a technical training of the PAPM, it is functional training where I will discuss like how to do the modeling in PAPM and how to achieve the business requirement from functional perspective, but we will still touch up some technical viewpoints. So let's say when we do some action on the front end, there are some BW concepts so that on the top of PAPM, so that happens in the backend. I will touch them on also slightly, but mostly like I will show you everything from functional standpoint of view without there is no coding or any such thing required in PAPM.
Okay, so just trying to understand basically what are the differences between functional and technical in PAPM point of view.
So from PAPM point of view, like it is, they are projecting it as without any coding, like any business user can learn PAPM and do the modeling and all. However, to do the integration of PAPM with some other things, like you require some technical knowledge, like if you need a BW object that you need to create in BW and bring that into PAPM. So I will show you how to bring that into PAPM, but not to how to create BW info objects in the BW system.
Okay,
so
okay.
wherever there is an integration part, there requires like if you need to integrate with BW, then BW technical knowledge is required. If you need to integrate with SSC, then SSC knowledge is required. If you need to integrate with the FICO, that I will explain like how to post a document from PAPM to FI like AC Docker, that I will show you. So
okay, so
but
if I consider
one question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sudip, you carry on. I think you already started.
No, please go ahead. I'll continue. Please go carry on. Please.
See, then you mentioned that FICO. Okay, so I think these all are in single server. Okay, because this is my understanding. BW is a separate system again. I think from SAP this is like a controlling and finance and MM, like we are having this PAPM, correct? Or do we need a separate posting for the PAPM?
So this is flexible. PAPM is very flexible. So it depends on where you install PAPM. That we will cover, like where you install PAPM either on S4 or either on BW or either a separate instance. That we will cover, like what are the deployment options. Okay. But from overall perspective, so I was saying like I will explain you how to bring data into PAPM from various sources. Then I will explain you how to process data within PAPM. Then I will show you how to post back data or write back data to a BW or any like normal accounting document posting. But whenever we connect PAPM with any other system, we require a basis help. So like an RFC or all those things. So those things are technical. So those things will require technical knowledge. Apart from that, like from PAPM a standalone perspective, we do not require any technical kind of skills. So as we progress through, I will explain like what is possible and wherever we required any technical help, because and when we implement something, there is a complete team that works. So first, let's say if you have PAPM, you are PAPM consultant. But whenever you need to connect different system, you need basis help. Whenever you need to post an accounting document or a custom BAP or something, then you need a ABAP person to code for you. So those things will stay there. But from PAPM standpoint of view, I will explain all the concepts. Here, what we will be, this training will take around 25 to 30 hours. Based on like the number of session or how we go through about that. But it is mostly like first we will go through a PPT, which is like overview of PAPM. What is PAPM, when it is started, and what are the current server pack and which server pack we will be using for the training. So that will be covered in the overview part. So this will be a PPT. Now after this, there is a PAPM modeling part. So when I say modeling, that does not mean you need to do some coding or analytics, something like that. No. So it is just different functions which are available in PAPM. So what I will do here in modeling, there are different functions available. Like there are information function which brings data into PAPM, and there are processing functions which process data within PAPM. Then there are a structure function. There are writer and adapter function and query function. So in modeling, what I will do, I will explain each function individually first, meaning how to bring data into PAPM. There are different information functions that we will discuss like individually. Then we'll see what are the processing functions. For example, calculation, allocation, derivation, those kinds of functions are available. I will show everything in the system. So this will be in system. Okay. Also, along with that, there will be documentation we will refer, but this will be like directly into system.
When you mention this allocation, so will you able to show this top-down distribution also?
So allocation is very flexible. You can achieve different types of allocation. So I will explain starting with the basic, like there is a source cost center which have $100. Then we need to allocate cost center 1 to cost center 2 to cost center 3 in 60-40 ratio. That I will show you in the system. And first I will show you the data from within PAPM. Then I will show you one end-to-end example where we fetch data from live from AC.A. We do some rules, create some rules for that cost center. We do the allocation using allocation function. Then once the allocation is done, we do a postback using RFA function. So there is an RFA function which use standard BAPI. So you need to just map the allocation output to the BAPI fields, and then it will do a postback without any coding.
Okay.
So that I will show you one end-to-end example. But I will explain. So in PAPM allocation, there are different variations. So I will explain all the variation in detail. But specific scenario like distribution and all, we need to come up the logic. Like there is a flexibility in PAPM, we can design that way only. So either it is an ABC costing or top-down distribution. All those things, like if there is a iterative allocation, that is also possible. Like iteration 1 output will be used in iteration 2 and so on. So that everything will be covered.
Because I'm specifically looking for this brand P&L. Okay, that's a more a top-down distribution. That's the reason I'm asking.
Yeah. So once when I complete this training, you will be able to understand how to do that. So every logic like top-down distribution, if you can explain or a prototype in an Excel, we can like map that to PAPM.
Sure.
So after this training, if you have an Excel step-by-step process, then you will be able to map that into PAPM. So first here in the modeling part, I will explain each function individually. Then after this, there will be a hands-on exercise. So basically there is an learning hub SAP where they provide an exercise for Bikers Dream Limited. This is a hypothetical scenario where they are manufacturing bicycles. So what they do, they provide us some information about material cost, labor cost, factory cost, and all those costs. Based on that cost, we need to calculate those. So because the data they provide is different, and then we need to do the calculation and allocation based on any particular requirement. So how to do that? We will be using these same function which I explain individually. We will connect them. Like modeling is basically connecting different functions to get the business requirement. So that I will show you here in the exercise. Now after this exercise, we will be able to calculate the contribution per unit per product type. So that will be the exercise that we will be doing. And after that, so this modeling part is there. So this is the modeling user, like the person who configure the PAPM is the modeling user, but end user will not be able to see whatever we do the modeling. So after that, once we do the modeling, we need to connect that modeling to the end user parts. End user is execution. So we need to configure that modeling so that end user can run those activities. So we need to create activities on top of modeling so that end user will be running those from their screen. So end user will not be able to see the modeling part. So this will come to an end-to-end example. So after this, I will be explaining one end-to-end example that I mentioned. We will bring some data from live data from AC.OK, and then we will process that, and then we will post back. So that will be one process, like with the sample data. So on top of that, like you can build your requirement on top of a similar way. Like the steps I will explain you. Like there are 5 steps to do that. So those steps will be same in every scenario. Only thing which differs is like the requirement of that, what you want to achieve. After that, there are some miscellaneous topics like application monitor, then activating function using GUI, and apart from that, there will be some other topics which are not here mentioned here, but there are some more miscellaneous topics. So after this training, what you will be able to do is that any requirement that you have in Excel, like you should know the data flow of your business requirement. For example, is an allocation. So from where source data is coming, what are the fields which are coming, what are the field type, data length, and everything which is coming into PAPM. Then while processing, what you want to achieve with that source data, from where the rules will come, what fields you want user to input when you run the allocation. So once you have those kind of answer, and you have like prototype example in your Excel, then you will be able to map that requirement into PAPM.
Okay.
So that will be covered. Like if we do 1 or 2 hour each, then we'll within the month. So we'll try to cover within month, because the server that we buy, that is a monthly cost. So if we exceed more than 1 month, that will cost us more. So we'll discuss about the timings, but from overall perspective, this will be the structure of the training. Now, along with this, I will be using some documents. Let me explain that what the documents I will be using here. So first document that I will be using is PAPM SP13. This is a public document, like you can download from help.sap. So I will be referring this like different functions available and everything. We will refer this document. I will show you how to download, and I will send you the link also. Second is this. There is a PAPM ebook. So this is not a public document. I mean, you need to have an access to Learning Hub, only then you can download. But this will be shared by me. Like I will send you a link, G Drive link, so you can download this book. So this is also basically this similar kind of document, but is more descriptive in the form. Like there is the paragraph forms. There are different units, and it have also the example of the Bikers Dream Limited. So you see, this is explained with the diagrams and everything. So this is good to read. We will refer this book also wherever necessary. Apart from that, there is this exercise from SAP Learning Hub, PAPM 10, which have like 14 exercises. So now it have the solution of this exercise also within this, but it is not updated by SAP from like 3-4 years. So it is for previous version SP06, but the example or the solution of this exercise also given in this PDF, but that solution is for the SAP system, like the Learning Hub system. So the solution of this exercise will not be like similar to what we have in our system. So for that, I have prepared one Word document. So this is like quite a big Word document with 170 pages. So this have all the 14 exercises. Like you can follow this by step by step. Like everything is mentioned screenshot by screenshot. Whatever data you need to input, the data is also there. You just need to copy paste in PAPM. So if you follow this document, you will be able to do this exercise on your own. And this is like very much in detail. So the training system that we have, this is the solution of that exercise in our training system. So you can refer this when you do the training exercise. This also includes some other examples like end-to-end other things also. Like after this exercise, there are other topics which are covered here. These are the content or the material that we will be using. So let's come back to this. Now there are some things which let me explain first. I will take 2 more slides and then I will ask, like, open for questions, so we can ask based on it. So just an overview of PAPM first. What is PAPM and why it is there? So this is an analytical tool developed by SAP. So in true fashion, PAPM is not a wholly new solution, but is a rebranding of previous solution. So previously, there was a tool which is FSPER, so which stands for performance management for financial services. So previously what was happening that there was this tool and it was only available for financial services like banking and insurance companies. But this FSPER was launched in 2017. So providing the calculation capability with real-time data access to the source without the need of data replication. So this was the unique feature of this FSPER. So fetch the real-time data without data replication. So now what happens in 2018, they rebrand this FSPER and remove the restriction for financial services. So now it is available for all the segments or industries. So there is no limitation, that kind of limitation now. So they rebrand it as an SAP PAPM in 2018, and current server pack is SP18. So it is a complete end-to-end analytical tool that takes the data from many different places, perform calculation, enrich data, and analyze data output. It also has ability to run simulation. So simulation, we will see what are the simulation, how to do those simulation, and PAPM only requirement is HANA database. So this is just an overview of PAPM. Previously, it was an FSPER, rebranded as an SAP PAPM, and it was launched in 2018.
So you mentioned that it is a on-premise version of PAPM. If I'm not wrong, we have another version that is on cloud, right? So how different the cloud version from that our on-premise version? Because I'm very sure there are some differences because cloud versions are a little bit newer, I can say. Yeah. So it is the latest release. So I'm just trying to understand from you, how it is different from on-premise version.
Yeah. So cloud version is different, but the functions that are available, right? So those work similar. Like let's say you want to do allocation. So in cloud version, you might have different options to bring data compared to the on-premise version. So that might be different, but the functions that we have, like once you learn a particular function or calculation function or allocation function, so those functions will work accordingly. Only things the difference is the integration part. Like if you integrate your cloud with something, will be different kind of like architecture you need. But if you do the integration with on-premise, that you have some different kind of like integration part. There might be some additional functions that are specific to cloud. So those are possibility, because this training that we will go through is on-premise edition.
Okay, but can I say if I complete this on-premise training, then I can cover at least 70-80% functions of analytical, sorry, your cloud version, because as you rightly mentioned, maybe some add-on function will be there and scripting and etc. Let us say you are applying some allocation logic and their syntax and scripting style will be different, or maybe 70-80% similar. Yeah. So what is the probability that if I learn this on-premise version, then can I handle that cloud version also, or for that we need to do some extra exercise or extra learning?
So like functionality wise, there won't much a difference, but you will be able to handle like more than 80% will be similar. Only difference is like when you connect your PAPM cloud to some other systems. Apart from that, the document that SAP provide is the same for cloud and this on-premise. So once you have this training, and after this, if you read out some blogs on PAPM clouds, and you will be able to handle that. So like there are the look and feel is also different from on-premise, but the functions that are they use will be similar.
Okay, and can I also get access or maybe some trial access of cloud version, or like in SAC SAP Cloud, we can take your trial version for first 90 days or 60 days. So if for PAPM cloud version, is there any option to take that, or we need to only purchase the
PAPM
license?
is the like tricky one, because there is like limited server available for on-premise also. Cloud, I have not tried like any PAPM which for training on the cloud. Like it will be difficult to get a training system on PAPM cloud, because PAPM cloud itself cannot do anything until and unless it is connected to data source, right? So we need two systems.
Got it.
So that's why like in a training system, cloud might not be possible.
Got it. Fair enough.
So
So
here,
actually, is the cloud and on-premise performance also will be different, because whenever we have this huge data, okay, like millions of records, when we are doing this allocation, the performance also different, or it's a similar for both?
so performance depend on the system resources that are available. If it is for cloud, right, that utilize what kind of resources that are available in that particular cloud. Is it a private cloud or the public cloud? It depend on that. So on premise also, whenever we have like any limitation of data, then we have some concept of partitioning the data so that we can handle with the current system resources. So yeah, the performance part, you need to consider the system architecture of that, like where you want to post, from where we are reading the data. It depends on all those things. So this is the deployment options that are available either on premise or cloud. So now when you implement PAPM, it is an add-on. Like we do not get the when we install S4HANA or BW, you need to buy a separate license for PAPM. So first thing, it can be installed on S4HANA, like PAPM on S4HANA. Second, it can be installed on BW for HANA. Third, it can be installed on FSDP. This is for financial ledger, sub-ledger systems. So mostly banking insurance clients, they store the data in different database. So there you also can install directly. And another option is you separate PAPM, and then you integrate with different other sources. So in our training system will be the on-premise and on top of S4HANA. So now the implementation that I worked on, it was on BW for HANA. So how to decide where to install? That depends on the system architecture of that particular business requirement. So the recommendation is to install PAPM where your majority of data resides. So closer to the source data will be faster when you do the PAPM allocation or any run. So it is recommended that you install PAPM on the majority of your source data. So this will be like S4HANA will be there for our training system. So let me show you here.
Can you also upload the Excel data in our server?
So Excel can be uploaded in PAPM. Like if there is a table we create model table. In that model table, we can upload Excel, but that won't be on runtime. Like you need to do manually.
Okay.
Because PAPM is the Fiori based, so this will be on web page. We cannot have like local desktop file at the runtime to fetch the data from. Either we can have some kind of AL11 file that we can read, but we cannot read from local desktop at runtime, but we can upload manually to any table in PAPM.
Okay, so basically, PAPM is not storing something, right? Because it's a so it is taking data from source and applying the calculation and etc. and writing back to the destination, right? Is that the right statement?
Yes. So let's say there is a data. If I talk about this S4 HANA, where let's say there is a data in ACDOK, and PAPM is also installed here on top of S4 HANA. Now you apply some filters, you put some values of cost center or anything, then you fetch the data from ACDOK into PAPM. Like whatever is your source data, you apply the filters and everything. Once you have the data, that will be on runtime. It's not storing anywhere. Once you have the data at the runtime, you do some calculation, allocation, anything. Then you have some output. Now, this output, you want to keep this in PAPM and generate reports, or you want to post back again to ACDOK. So that is also possible to post it back again to ACDOK as an accounting document or secondary posting, or there are different options like accounts payable, accounts receivable document. Those you can post it back. So in all the process, there is data is not replicated. I mean, at the runtime, it is fetched, read from the source, processed, and then posted back. But there is an option if you want to store data. There is an option in PAPM. You can create tables and store data there. Or next option, what can be? So you let's say there is a BW. You want to write that data into BW. That is also possible. BW info objects, so like the BW tables, you can write data there also.
So in which scenario we can load data in PAPM? Because as you rightly mentioned, we can also store data in PAPM, but is it recommended, or maybe I'm just trying to understand what in which scenario we are going to PAPM as a data storage, or what it is not at all recommended?
So normally it's not recommended, but let's say your current resources that are available are not able to handle the complete request, right? So let's say you do 5 functions and the output of that 5 function, you want to store it and then you start next function. So in that case, intermediary data you can be stored in a particular table. Because if you do the direct connection, like all the data, that might affect the system memory. So in that case, either you use a partitioning or you store the data temporarily in some table and then you reuse in different functions.
Okay, so in that case, for the huge data, so you mean to say it is recommended to store data, temporary data, maybe in temporary table. We can store, because I'm just trying to understand if data size is very huge and your complex logic you are going to implement, then when you are running your when you're fetching the data to PAPM, it should give some performance impact of your source system, right? Because when you are extracting data means it is getting extracted from your source system, right? So job will run at source system level, right? So if my source system is not capable enough, then it's a performance burden for me, when we
that
run
will
that
act
job.
as a bottleneck. Yes. So when PAPM itself like handle 2 billion records, but there is a bottleneck when you post back or when you fetch the data, so that bottleneck will be there.
Okay, and
So
how can we overcome?
There are like different options. First is like you do the partitioning. Partitioning means the logically separate the data into subsets so that they run in a sequence or like parallel. Based on the system requirement, we decide what is the best partitioning so that the current resources might able to handle the data loads. So that is one possible, like what we have implemented, we use in partitioning. So the data which is there, it was taking like 4.5 hours. Then we introduced partitioning. So what we do, we did 10 partitions. First 3 will go in parallel, then wait for it finish, then next 3 will go in parallel, and so on till 10. So that will reduce the data count, like the runtime, up to like 2.5 hours. So this way we need to check based on your current system resources, what is so basis team needs to be involved here to check like what is the best partitioning and how much data load the system can handle. So those are the different options available in PAPM.
Okay, and so in PAPM, so when you're applying any logic or when you're building or creating any logic or calculation, then how we can test, because it will take so long time, right? when you are calculating something, because when you are writing any script or function, you need to test that, right? So in real-time scenario, how we can test that? Because you know, if you test based on data, it will take more than 30-40 minutes time. So how we are doing that? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, that you need to test with sample data first, and then you need to run a final like with the real kind of data.
Okay, so for sample data, can it be done within 1 or 2 minutes, or?
Yeah, sample data is fast. Like you create, so that I will explain you when we do the modeling part. So
Oh,
this is the
perfect.
PAPM. So I will show you one model like how it works. So basically environments hold the models, and here let me show you one model. So this is one sample model like from end-to-end example point of view. So there is a function which is model view. This model view, what it does, it brings the data from AC.OK. You need to provide the table name. So these are the fields, 470 fields. But I don't need all these fields. So what I will do, I will create another
So
view
in case
function.
we
So view.
what fields are not required for us, that also can we do, or it will capture all the fields which are there in ACDoka?
No. First it will capture all, but you can exclude. You see there is exclude icon. You can exclude. Or what you can do, you can create a view on top of this. You see input is model view, that the previous one, and then this is an explicit view, meaning I need to define what fields I need. In the output,
Okay.
I define these fields I need, and I need to group, and amount should be sum. So when I run
Yeah.
this, it will show me only these fields. At every step, as a modeling user, I need to run and check if its data is coming properly or not. So if I run this,
So here I have one thing. Okay, in ACDoka we will have a maximum of around only 170 line items. Okay, so how many
mhm.
line items capture here? If I talk about the transaction data, how many line items will capture in PAPM in this modeling?
So all the data from SAC will be coming here. Then you need to filter out the data that you
So
require.
limitation for the line items, correct? Because if you see in ACDoka, maximum hits only 170,000.
So current this is training system, but in the real system, in our AC Docker, there are 150, 160 million line items. Which like is it in on ECC or S4? So there is no limitation as such like in AC Docker. There can be number of line items. Currently there are 26,000. This is a training system, but
You
there
can
is no
check in
such
options.
limitation.
There will be a more option and you can see the maximum hits. Okay, that's the reason I'm asking, which we are facing in present scenario also in implementation.
So in you when you bring data from ACDoc, whatever data is there in this ACDoc will everything will be there,
Okay.
and you need to apply the filters. Like you should not be bringing all the ACDoc table, that will be performance intensive. So you need to apply filters like hard code filters. Let's say you need to ledger L. You need only
Yeah.
the reverse documents. You need to exclude reverse document, any company code, document type filter. Those things you need to apply. One after another, you do everything. Like this is kind of a modeling. At the end, you do the post back and all those things. So this is how will I will be showing you first each and every
Okay.
function in the PAPM. Then we will interconnect those functions to derive a business requirement, and this will be our exercise. So in this exercise, I will be explaining this Bikers Dream Limited. So this is like lengthy exercise. You see there are 67 models. So here I will be explaining step by step what is happening at each step, and we will follow that document like step by step. How the data is created. Like if you need some data to be created, you create a model table, you apply the fields, and you can maintain data in PAPM itself. So for training purpose, I need to have some data, so I can take some data within PAPM to show you some concepts. But in real time, you will fetch the data from a live source. So this will be the complete structure, and then after the modeling, the end user part will be covered. So end user, you won't be able to see anything that we do in the modeling. So end user have my activities. So in my activity, end user will do the same activities from the end user perspective. So end user will come to this screen, and there will be an activity created. So here I provide 3-step process. So first they will execute allocation, then they will launch the display of allocation. Once they satisfied, they can run the postman. So this is 3-step process of allocation. This is the end user screen that end user will be doing.
What
So
after the ACDoka? So after execution, they will finally run this allocation. Then actual data will flow to the ACDoka, correct?
yes. So in the execution, it will fetch the source data, apply the rules, do the calculation. Then it will show
Okay.
the output and then post back. And before that, they will enter this fiscal year costing period, cost center, whatever we decide to use it to enter.
Can you also connect to ECC system? Because in my project, we don't have, S/4HANA system. They have only HANA as a database and they have ECC. So can we connect with ECC?
It's possible in ERP
Yes.
on HANA database, not in Oracle database.
Oh, HANA database, yes.
Yeah, HANA database you can connect. So just now the previous training which I did for some clients, so they also have the ECC system where they have the suite on HANA. So their data is on HANA. So they're installed PAPM Server Pack 6. So when we create any model table, they are able to fetch the standard tables directly into PAPM. So that is okay. So ECC also you can fetch the tables. And
any idea about this? If we want to connect this PAPM to the our S4?
Server cost for the training?
No, for the implementation, actual implementation.
Actual implementation, I'm not sure. I have not worked on the sales part. PAPM is costly, it's not because why we implement PAPM is like this. So for example, you have the S4 HANA installed, and that S4 HANA, what you do, you have the controlling module, right? So there you have the cost center allocation, everything available. You do that allocation, you do the configuration, and when you run the cost center allocation, it runs and post the entries based on that. So the same activity that you do in S4 controlling, the same can be done in PAPM.
Okay.
But why to shift in PAPM? So PAPM can do that activity. Along with that, there are other options available in PAPM also. But what is the difference? So difference is, so when you run any report or program in S4, what it does, in the backend, it run an ABAP program. What that ABAP program do? It have the select queries and internal tables. So what it does, let's say when you run a particular allocation or any allocation cycle, so what it does in the backend, ABAP program runs, it fetch the source data, store that in internal table, then apply the allocation rules that store there in the internal table, and it will give do the processing based on the calculation and everything. And after that, the output posts some documents and then clear out the internal tables. That is the process happen in the backend when you do this in S4. So if your current system is able to handle the data efficiently, then there is no such need to move to PAPM. But the same thing if you do in PAPM, because PAPM is on HANA database, so it will utilize the HANA memory. So what happens, the same thing if you do in PAPM, it fetches the data live from ACDOK, whatever the data that we have here. The same rule you need to set up here. And when you run, the same process will be faster than the normal S4 programs, because a ABAP program runs differently and the PAPM functions run differently. So technically, the output will remain the same. You can do the postback also, but the technical aspects, how it run, the runtime and the resources utilized by the PAPM will be different. So if you want to reduce the time and enhance the process of your month end closing and all those things, so that's why the projects that we implemented, like what they were doing, they have a system where they have the allocations working. So currently what was happening, it was very time consuming, and they have some manual steps in between also. So we now streamline the process so that just end user will come on the my activity screen, enter the cost center, fiscal period and year, and click on run. That's it. Like they just maintain the rules and then run. So everything is set up in the PAPM, the modeling part. Now the process is streamlined and it is faster than their current process. So that's how it depends on the business requirement, what they want to achieve using PAPM. Apart from that, the reporting capability. So the output of PAPM then can be fed to either SSC or BPC or BW. So any query which is created in PAPM, you can fetch the data from that PAPM query to SSC and report using SSC. So that is flexibility available.
I missed that part, maybe because of network issue. What you said, what is the difference between when you are applying some allocation logic at HANA level or S4 HANA level, and you are applying your same logic at PAPM level, and it is working faster, and people are implementing because of that. So what are the difference you said? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. So let's say there is a allocation cycle that you configure in S4, and when you run it. So what happens when you run the allocation cycle in S4? It runs a ABAP program in backend. So what that ABAP program is doing some select statement on the source data, like from where ACLOK or something, then storing that intermediary data into internal tables, then doing the processing, calculation, and everything. And it is doing any posting of the document and then clearing out that internal table. So this is how it works in ABAP, like in normal S4. But the same thing, if you are like happy with the output of month-end closing activities are running in time, then it's okay. There is no point. You just need to implement PAPM from the performance perspective. But there are some additional features of PAPM also. Now, if the same activity you want to do in PAPM, you need to model it that way. And when you run it, even though it will show the same output and the effect is same, like it will post the document again, but the technically how it runs in the backend, it will be different because it utilizes the HANA memory. It utilizes parallel threads of that particular resources which are available, and the data fetch is real time without any replication, and then it is more faster than normal S4 process. That is one of the key parameters to sell PAPM when you are struggling with your data set, data count, and the runtime of that particular S4 process. Apart from that, what PAPMs provide is flexibility, meaning let's say you did the configuration, and then, for example, one cost center is cost center 1 is going to cost center 2, cost center 3, cost center 5 into ratio of 0.1, 0.5, and 0.4. Now this is the allocation. If you want to change, let's say you want to do what if analysis. What if there is an additional cost center 6 and you change the distribution base, then what will be the result? So if you want to do this kind of scenario in S4, either you create a separate Z program or you need to do the configuration change. But in PAPM, you don't need to do that kind of thing. What you can do, you can utilize the what if scenarios. So that we will discuss how to do that. So in what if scenario, what we can provide flexibility for end user to provide that input, and based on that we'll give the result. So that flexibility is there. Like if you want to change to existing allocation process in PAPM, just PAPM user needs to go and just change that in the modeling. So that modeling is, there is no standardized thing, like it is very flexible. The way we want to achieve the change that we want to do in a particular output, it is very flexible. There is no coding required. But if such kind of scenario that we required in the S4, then we need to write a Z program and all those things that required a web person. That is another thing that PAPM will do. These are the different, like technically how it runs, and the backend is different from S4 and PAPM.
So IT dependency and I can say performance you already mentioned, and it is more user friendly and user centric. So maybe, and also
Yes.
because of that we can implement it faster. When we are doing some monthly cycle and etc., or maybe some quarterly allocation etc. Then if if HANA system, or normally as per HANA system is taking 3 days, it can be possible to achieve in this in your PAPM system within one or more than less than one day. That is the right statement.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are some blogs available at, we'll discuss this also, but this is defined like why you use PAPM. So when there is no SAP data is needed, I mean PAPM, what it provides, any data source, Oracle data source, HANA data source, standard table, DDIC source, CDS view, HANA view, any type of data source, BW, all the data can come into PAPM. So there are different options. We will cover each one of them. So either let's say there is a data in Oracle database, so we need to just connect an SDA connection, and we can take a table. We need to provide a table name in that Oracle database, and we can fetch directly into PAPM. If PAPM is installed on S4, then we can bring all the standard tables directly into PAPM. So there is a standard functionality, bring all the tables. We can bring DDIC views, we can bring CDS views, we can bring HANA view, HANA table, info objects, BW objects, ADSO, everything we can bring data into PAPM from different sources. So there we do not require any coding, just create a function and then bring data. So this is one possibility of PAPM that can bring any kind of data, SAP, non-SAP data into PAPM. Second is simulation and review required. Simulation means, I will explain, like
when you mentioned that there is no coding required to bring this non-SAP data also, so then how it will, because might be non-SAP fields are different, so how exactly it will map to the PAPM?
Yeah, so when you bring data, any data source from external to PAPM, the fields which are there in the table will be registered in the PAPM environment automatically when you activate. So the data type, field, structure, everything. So that I will show you, but I won't be able to show you this external connection because we do not have any SDA connection here. I will show from standard AC.doc A. When I consume that AC.doc A, all the fields and AC.doc A are registered in the environment when we activate that table. We can create our own fields, plus whatever data source that we bring, all those fields will be registered automatically.
Okay, automatically it will.
Yes, it will propose a solution that, let's say there is a field which is coming R center from AC.doc A. It will propose you that you create R center in your PAPM also, or you can change it if you want. You can change the description and all those things. So mostly we use the same, but we can change. Now, simulation means like, for example, you do some modeling and let's say material cost you want to inflate by X percentage. So this X, you want the user to enter this X percentage, and based on this X percentage, the output will vary. So let's say if user enters 0.1%, it will inflate material cost with 0.1%, and the output that you do like material cost, labor cost, factory cost, then total revenue, then last profit. So if user enters 0.1, then the whole model will like take this material cost, multiply by 0.1 or 0.1.1, and then it will show the output based on that. Then now if user wants to know what if my material cost increase by 20%, then user will enter this and execute again. So it will just refresh that output based on whatever the new parameter entered by the user. So that is simulation. This is like standard, like we do not need to do any coding, we just do the modeling in that way. Then speed is faster. So one thing to notice here that within PAPM is very fast, but wherever we need to send or post back the data, there is bottleneck of that system will not come into picture. Then flexibility. So it is very flexible in the sense like there is no particular standard way that you need to do this way only. So there are some sample content provided by SAP PAPM. We will be able to look that, but this is very flexible in the sense that the way any requirement, right, you can achieve using PAPM. Any kind of custom requirement, mostly like when we implement S4, there are some custom objects which standard SAP cannot do. So there PAPM help us, like we can also do the custom requirement, like meaning like everything will be a custom in PAPM. It is flexible the way we want to model it. So this will avoid custom coding, then cut development cost, end-to-end integration, high execution speed. So these are some of the important aspects of PAPM, but this have some similarity with SSC and BPC. That let me show you those. So this is a blog which is like slightly old, but is still relevant. So here if I show you, this is BPC versus PAPM. So these are the similarities, and these are PAPM only feature, and this is BPC only feature. So the use of Power HANA database and calculation. So this is both of them. They both can do this. But PAPM is web front end only, but the BPC is like they can utilize different analysis for Office and all those things. But now after this update, we can also show the query in AO also, analysis for Office. So this is basically an Excel tool by SAP. So the reports that we generate here, we can also see that in AO, the analysis for Office. I will show you in the example how to show that. Then second, can use BW objects when building a model. So BPC can use, PAPM we also can use, both can do this. So here PAPM is just for basic planning, but BPC is basically for complex planning. So this perform calculation and transformation, both of them can do these things. So this one is more user friendly, easily configured by business user. So this is a unique property of this PAPM, where business user can configure this, but the BPC requires like BPC person, like dedicated person to do all the BPC kind of thing. So they both can link other source systems. Now in PAPM, what we get, what if analysis, like native ability, we get in PAPM. So in BPC, we can do the same what if analysis, but that requires custom development. This is the similarity versus the differences between BPC and PAPM. Similar to BPC, there is an SSC comparison also. So both are web-based. So BPC and PAPM both are web-based. So this is simple and limited data output. but in SSE, like we have different options for reporting. So they both build on S4 this HANA database. We have on-premise and cloud, but SSE is only cloud, so that you know already. So no need of data replication in both. So this can write back data to BW. So this one, I think SSE also can write back data now. So this was slightly old. So write back of data is available in PAPM from PAPM to a BW object. So can link to other system, both can do. This is complete end-to-end tool, and this is analytical. So there are similarity with BPC and SSE, and we can integrate our PAPM output reports into SSE also. In SSE, if you like, you are SSE person, if you learn PAPM, then both you can integrate with SSE. Like you can do calculation and everything in PAPM and then show those outputs in SSE. So this was that overview, and like this one, let me complete this slide and then we'll. So installation options, meaning how when we install, like basis team will install PAPM. So now there are different options. One is on SAP NetWeaver. This is like without any database connection. Second option is that we see in S4 HANA. So minimum requirement is S4 HANA 1709 and onwards with the HANA database. The third option is on SAP BW for HANA. Their minimum is like 1.0 SP7 BW with the S4 HANA as a database. So these mostly these two are used like based on the business requirement. Mostly the projects that I worked on was installed on BW, but in training system it is installed on S4. So it depends on the requirement, like wherever we want to install it.
As a developer or as a consultant, can I get, so is there any difference if it is on top of your BW or BW for HANA, or it is top of your your S4 HANA? So as a consultant or as a developer, are you going to get any difference when you are working or not?
Yes. So let's say option one is in S4. Now here, if it is installed on S4, all the standard tables like you will be able to get as a standard. Like if you create a table here, model table, and in the model table, if you do F4, in that table, if you select the DDAC like standard tables, you will get all the standard tables for S4 like ACID, OK, BSEG, BKPF, everything will be available. Now similarly, if it is on BW, and if you create the same model table and do an F4, what are the tables? Because in BW you won't see ACID OK, so it won't show ACID OK here. So this is the difference, but you can bring data into BW from S4 table also, that using an SDA connection, meaning there is an RFC that basis need to set up between S4 and BW. Then you will create a model view in PAPM, and here in S4 ACDoc A, you create a HANA view on top of this HANA view, and this HANA view will be fetched in PAPM using RFC connection. So this is what we did in our project. So there are different possibilities, and it depends on your requirement which one you choose. So in our system, what was the issue is that our S4 system is already like have a lot of transactions going on, so there was no room to run PAPM on top of this. So we install on this BW instance, and we connect the S4 BW using HANA views.
Okay.
Wherever we need to connect these kind of things, we need the basis help to connect the systems.
Got it.
So that was an overview. And after the training, what we will be able to do here, let me show you one more thing. What will be the limitation of the training, because training cannot be show you what cannot be done here. So there are a few things. Let me explain you before and so the expectations are clear. So first limitation, training will not have any real kind of data. So the data that I will be using in a prototype, so the real kind of data will not be there in the training system, meaning if we want to run a particular report that have thousands or 1 million line items, that kind of scenario will not be possible here. Second, the data that I need to create, I will be creating within PAPM, because I can control the data. So instead of doing a posting in ACDoc A, that data I required and bring the data into PAPM, I will be doing a direct entry into PAPM table so that I can control the data to show you the training, how the data flow works. So that will be the next thing. However, I will one end-to-end scenario, I will show you one example where I fetch live data from ACID and then we do allocation and postback, that will be covered. Second thing here that will be that there are in this training system, there are some functions in PAPM like a writer function. This writer function have two options. One is planning writer, one is loading writer. So this planning writer is not working in the system. It is require an SAP note. So that kind of things we do not have in the training system. However, I will show you the same functionality with loading writer. And to show you these scenarios, it will not act as a bottleneck for the training. I will show you and blog to see this. So we'll see step by step how this works in the system also with the screenshots. But this does not act as a bottleneck for the training. It is another way of writing the data.
What do you call it? Planning? Planning?
Planning and loading. So there are two different technologies that you use to write a BW. So there is a planning writer and there is a loading writer.
What are the exact difference, basic difference?
So basic difference is how they write into BW. This is like BW terminology. There is a ADSO, which is you can say like a BW table. So now there are different options. The data that is already there, if you want to check that data before writing, like insert, delete or insert, that kind of thing. You want to summarize, if there is a duplicate data, you want to overwrite, those kind of things are available, like from planning perspective. Those things, like there are some certain functions which will not work properly in the training system, but that will not act as a bottleneck. Okay. Then third thing, so there are industry specific function in PAPM. So for banking and insurance clients, there are some industry specific functions that will not be covered in this training. So for example, if I show you this document, so these are the processing functions. So here there is a flow modeling, fund transfer pricing, and valuation. So these three will not be covered. These are the industry specific because this is flow modeling, like how your funds flow in your particular banking or insurance client, funds transfer pricing, and then valuation. So these are the industry specific, so it will not be covered. I will be covering mostly the allocation, calculation, condition, conversion, derivation, join, transfer structure, and view. So these are the most used functions. So basically allocation will be covered extensively. So there are different variations of allocation. How you perform the allocation, either it is just an allocation or allocation with offset record, or allocation with direct or indirect and indirect details. So there are different variations that each one of them will be covered in detail. So you will be able to handle any allocation like requirement using the PAPM.
Okay, so if possible, maybe at the end of the course, if we can, cover quickly the transfer pricing option, then it will be helpful. Not right now, maybe at the end of the course, maybe after 1 month or something. Yeah, because in our scenario, transfer pricing actually it is in our scope, but my main focus will be on allocation. Yeah, that is okay. But if quickly cover the transfer pricing, that will be helpful.
So this one is not that transfer pricing that you are mentioning. This is fund transfer pricing, meaning for funds, not the transfer pricing that we do, so that we can achieve using allocation and calculations.
So
okay. There is no specific transfer pricing function. This is for funds. I mean the banking insurance funds. Those like if I show you, because I try to see those functions what they do, but I am not able to understand. You see rate charged on providing funds to loan giving business units. So this is like banking clients.
Got it.
Now if you go to this flow modeling, or you see fund transfer pricing, so they are using these kind of formulas. So I'm not actually aware of these.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so I thought it is transfer. No, it's okay.
So apart from that, like this will be everything will be covered. You will be able to handle all kind of requirements from PAPM modeling perspective. And the basic intent that you need to work here is that if you know a business process, meaning no business process means you know the start point of and the end point with the fields itself. Like let's say you want to do allocation, what will be the first question should be what is the fields that you want user to enter. First you decide those. Apart from that, what will the hard code filters on your source data. Then what are the fields that you want to bring from source data. So that is the basic, like when you start. Then after that in Excel you prepare kind of thing that this is your source table, from where it is coming, like is it from ACDOK or any other table. Then what are the filters that you apply here. After applying filter, how you want to group the data based on which fields. Those things if you know, like you prototype in Excel, then you will be able to do the requirement mapping into PAPM. So PAPM, we will not be using any coding or any such thing. It will be just using the functions. There will be some small formulas that we will be using, like when we need to sum a particular, we write sum. then technical name of that field. When we write concat formula, those Excel kind of formula, that will simple one that I will show you in the PAPM. So basically PAPM, we can do the coding also, that is optional, but that requires language is SQL. So the formula whenever we write is it SQL. Commonly used, if I show you some example, like if there is a line item text field and my requirement is that text field should be like this. So it should start with R, that represent receiver. Then there should be in hardcode value like AL1. Then the cost center that we have, like whatever the cost center user enters, that cost center value should be there. So these kind of formula I will show you, like we do concat. Then in the quotes we do R.ALL1 in the quotes, then comma, then whatever the R center. R center is the technical name of the cost center. So this kind of formula, simple formula I will show you, but not any complex or coding kind of thing.
But without writing any complex coding formulae, can we achieve that allocation logic?
Yeah, allocation is like this. You don't need to apply any formula. You just need to select a field that you want to allocate. You need to select a field on basis on you want to allocate. That's it. You just run it. It will allocate everything, calculate automatically.
Okay. Even in
So
real-time scenario and the project that you are handling, the real-time scenario, there also you are not writing any script or code, or
yeah, in PAPM we are not writing any script. So only thing that we are writing. So let's say the allocation output happen. Till here we do not write any script, like only calculations. So when you post back, there are different options. One option is that you use standard RFC for posting GL document. So that does not have like all the COPA fields that we have. So for that, what we need to do, we need to create a GBAPI. So that ABAPer will do, and will write a code to fetch this output into that BAPI and post using a GBAPI. So in that case, this was written as a code from ABAPer. We just take the name of GBAPI in PAPM and activate this we provided this structure of this output to the ABAPer, and they created the GBAPI. That GBAPI we fetched in PAPM, we activated, we map the fields like automatically in the BAPI, and when we run it from PAPM, it posts the document using additional fields. So this kind of requirement requires the ABAPer.
So I think in my scenario also, so we are using allocation, right? So our source is our ECC, and our PAPM will be on top of BW for HANA. So in that case also we need ABAP developer.
So it depends on the fields that you want to post back. If you want to post back the fields which are available in standard BAPI, then it's okay. Otherwise, you need an ABAPer to bring those fields which you need additional to the standard BAPI. So technically, what it does. So technically, let me show you what it does. Actually, in the backend, right, there is still the coding happens, like when we run particular in the PAPM and the backend, it runs some codes. So what are those? Let me show you. So this is my allocation output. Now this is my post back. Here I'm using as an input. You see in the rules, I have these standard BAPI fields. So I need to map from my allocation output. Let's say I want to group the documents on the company code. I want this company code as company code from this. So I need to map those. So there are limited fields here. You need additional fields than this. Then what you do is there are options, like if you want to post GL document, then you do GL ledger items. If you want post AP, AR, or if you want to post this secondary cost element, these are different options given. With those options, if your requirement is not available, then you use the external function. When you use external function, then if you do F4, these are the function modules available. Like if there is a function module that you want to achieve using this, then you use this external function. So what it does here, either you can use additional any other function module that is available, or you can create a Z function module or ZBAPI with the ABAPer. So in that case, you need to ask an ABAPer to code that to post the document that you want with your fields from PAPM. So these are this function module available. So if I show you some G star here, so these are the function modules. So if you want to post accounting document, so you copy the accounting document post BAPI or function module, and then like modify according from the ABAP person. Then you select that here. Once you select, then what will happen in the rules, you will have some code here. So this is the template, and the whatever code is written by in that function module will be visible here. You cannot change that code, it will come from there itself. So once
so
your
this code
output,
automatically comes from S4, correct? It's not in PAPM.
Yeah, not in PAPM. Automatically comes from S4. We don't need to write here anything. There is, you see, this is editable mode, but I cannot write. It just come from the BAPI that Webber creates. So we are using this external function, and we use a custom like GBAPI, and in the code itself we map the output of our allocation to that BAPI, and when we run this, it posts the document with our fields. So that is the only custom coding part that we are using in our implementation. So this was like slight overview.